Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the podcast. I'm very excited today because the patch is out. Mortal Kombat Ultimate is out. I want to just quick introduction. Obviously, I'm your co-host. Today. I'm here with my co-hosts Rio, Tom Brady, Zyphox. Thank God, Slips is also back. And also we have our new co-host from last week who has joined the podcast. CrimsonShadow is back with us as well. Um,
Hey
and
guys.
and guest, guys, back from the dead, resurrected by Lord Quan Chi himself, Michaelangelo. Welcome to the podcast, dude.
You will obey.
What's good, Mike?
What's
What
up,
up?
man? Dude,
Yeah,
I'm
Ultimate's brought a lot of
happy.
people back, like Michelangelo.
I'm happy, man. It's great.
That's right. Let me start with just your brief initial reactions about the game right now. What are you the most excited about? Share that with the audience, please. Let's start with Michelangelo. Why are you back, dude?
Okay, so I'm back because since this game's been out, uh like I feared that, with a bunch of fighting games nowadays, they want to make combos easier, more simple, less creativity, and MK11 was going in that direction. And this new patch just dropped, and it's finally in the right direction that I wanted this to go. Where I was like, finally, like, because I was worried. I was like, man, when MK12 comes out, I don't even know if I have faith in it because if they keep going in this simplified direction, it's going to be sad. But I think they're starting to realize, like, hey, let's open things up a little bit. So I'm just excited that the future, it holds a lot of great things for NRS now because I think they're finally like, they get it that some things can be a little overpowered, and that's cool.
Well, let me also do a quick follow up because I think everybody is curious, and then I'll ask the other co-host as well. Is there any particular character you're looking forward to using? Um, I know there's some rumors about Quan Chi coming out sometimes next year, but I really don't want to focus on that. I want to kind of focus on right now. What do you?
Uh,
Which character do you like?
Rambo, hands down, underline, double underline. So when this patch came out, I was like, oh, I'm gonna test out Rain, test out Rambo. Right when I tested out Rambo, it was just, one of those characters when you choose them and you just see their tools, it just speaks to you. And I just was like, I'm not even a practice train. I'm going full in with Rambo, and I'm gonna try to do good with him. If you guys didn't notice, like he has a good backdash. His zoning, great zoning. Like so I'm having a lot of fun with Rambo. He's speaking to me, and like I can't stop. I knew when I started like really liking him is when I went to bed. All I was thinking about when I before I went to sleep was the frame data. Okay, I gotta memorize, forward two is -5 on block, this and that, and I knew, okay, I like this character because before I go to sleep, I'm just thinking about his frame data, like what can I do with him? What are his tools? Like, so I'm excited about that.
Can you just briefly, because I'm a little bit curious right now. Which
Yeah.
variation or special moves combination are you using? I'm very curious.
So the ones I chose were the where he calls the missile, the airstrike,
Okay.
the claymore,
All right.
and the combo that ends in grabs.
All right. I got it. I got it.
S- Yeah, so I'm using those. For some characters, I can't use that variation, so then I'll go with the snare trap and the combo that leads into grabs. But for the characters, see, some characters, just like Quan Chi, some characters that I've played so far, the matchup with Rambo, they completely get shut out. With if Rambo, if he puts the claymore, he can get hit by it. But the claymore is just there to basically be like, are you better at zoning than I am? And if you're not, you have to get past my claymore. And Rambo zones out a lot of characters, so it's fun. And I'm using the airstrike because I'm ending combos into the setup with the grenade, and it calls the airstrike. It's plus like 54. So it's a setup zoning character. Hey, sounds familiar? A little bit of Quan Chi.
All right, man. I'm very happy that you're finally having fun. I think a lot of people are having fun, especially in these initial stages of the patch and and the opening of the customizable variation system. Let me ask Rio, what are you most excited uh, about the game?
Well, I've been playing all three of the DLC characters for the past 3 days. Started with Melina, then played Rambo, and I'm currently on Rain. And they're all really fun. They're all equally fun for different reasons. I think Melina's more of like, the lame runaway, try to chip you to death and try to sneak you. And I like how they gave her a command throw because it makes her really good up close now. Because with other characters, you have a chance to detect her throw. With her, I don't think there's a reason to not go for her command throw. It's 10 frames, so you might as well just always do it just to make them want to jump. And then when you get them jumping after some stuff, you can start anti-airing them with her ball roll, which is a good anti-air. Rambo, I have to agree with Mike. He's got a lot of tricks. He's really fun. I wasn't expecting to like him as much as I did when I tried him. My loadout was I had the combo starter, the snare that puts him up in the air, kind of like the back row thing, and I had the his low crawl move where you have a command grab or a low strike. I've been using that, and it's really good because he can essentially almost tick throw off every option. If you do a string into his low crawl and then you like delay his command throw, it's almost like a tick throw. And then once people start, pressing buttons and so on, you can start doing his staggers, going into his snare and get them for a full combo. So I've been using that. And for Rain, which I started playing today, my loadout was I had his back 4-3 move, the one where he like slices the air. And I had the aerial one where you get to use moves in the air, so I could also use that move in there. And I had his his third move, his upward geyser move for full combo. And I think Rain's also super fun. I'm actually having the most fun with him right now out of the three.
Do you think this is the most fun you've ever had with the game?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say this patch through day one of the game till now, I think this patch is the best version of the game and the most fun.
All right, thank you for sharing. How about Slips, man? We haven't heard from you in a long time. Why are you
What
back?
up? Well, Rambo's one of my favorite characters of all time. So, I mean, Rambo has one of my if I die and they put words on my grave, my favorite Rambo quote was in First Blood Part 2, where he says, well, they're talking about all the weapons they're going to give him and everything, and his mission is going to be real easy because you can just lean on the technology. He's just like, oh, I always thought the mind was the most powerful weapon, or something to that extent.
Yeah.
And that is why I'm like a character loyalist. And so because of Rambo and that quote and just all of his movies, he's got so many good movies too, besides the third one. So Rambo is another one thing, and then also with the custom moves being unlocked, there's always been some moves that I wanted to combination moves that I wanted to try with Scorpion. So I'm really torn between Scorpion and Rambo right now. First I was looking at Rambo, and then I started looking at Scorpion again, and I was like, man, I always wanted to do this combination, and now I'm able to do it. So it's been fun, yeah.
What's the combination of Scorpion? I'm curious that you are experimenting with right now.
Right now I'm looking at Misery Blade mixed with the Fire Breath. And then the Fake Telly, it's got a few good things it can work with as well. Like the Fireball's good. The Fire Breath is pretty decent too. It's interesting. It's fascinating.
All right, thank you. Let's go with Tom.
No, I've just been playing mainly Melina. I haven't really touched much Rain or Rambo right now. I've just been playing a lot of Melina. The thing I like most about the game has nothing to do with the new characters. I know that there are some people, I read a lot of tweets and they're like, the meta really hasn't changed much. It's pretty much the way it's always been, etc. But for me, the thing that I've hated the most about the game, the reason why I was always running away, instead of I guess, quote unquote, playing Sub-Zero correctly, or any character for that matter correctly, was the fact that I felt like while Mortal Kombat 11, I think there was no argument, was the most balanced of all the NetherRealm games we've had. There was a major imbalance in that characters that jailed and characters that had fast mids had a massive advantage in the game's meta. In the game meta that is so strike throw based, when they poke you, if you breathe wrong, GG's, it's over. they have such a devastating strike throw mix-up because they have like 9 or 10 frame mids, or their pokes are like plus 15 and you're totally jailed, you can't move. And you have the rest of the cast who will poke you, and you're like, well, if I keep mashing, they can't really do a mid, they can't jail me, and they can't even throw me. So it's like they just keep mashing back or try to go airborne. There was no real way to control them or discipline them or even have a type of a mind game. And then you had the dumbest thing that I hated the most, characters that are doing down 1, that are 7 frames, -3 on block, and you go to check them with a mid back. Like if you're going to keep mashing down 1, you go to check them with a mid, they beat you out. You go to throw, they beat you out. They force you to do your least damaging, most risky option, which is down 1 back. Then they backdash and blow you up for it. And I'm like, man, that just, I don't want to be caught in that. The game is not fun no matter what character I play, because that's just not a fun meta for me. So I went out of my way to play the game backwards, which of course is not very fun either, because if you're playing the game incorrectly, it's definitely not going to be fun. Now that they made that change, I have so much fun playing more than just like, oh, I'm going to play Sub-Zero only. I love playing Mileena. I can't wait to get into Rain next, and then I'm going to get into Rambo. And I'm very excited to play a lot of characters that I've wanted to mess around with, but I'm like, God, I just hate this part of the game. So really, I'm excited for all of it.
And I think one thing I want you to comment a little bit short briefly about is the variation system. How you're excited about many characters instead of just being forced to use like 2 or 3, right? Where these moves are kind of like weird, or they're not that good in combination. The synergy is not there. Can you talk about that briefly as well?
Yeah, I think that there have been some characters that, another problem which I think has led to the quote unquote game seeming not as balanced as it really is that sometimes you just have stuff that just doesn't work well with one character or another. And you're like, man, if only they could equip this move that's in customs, like that would be so good. And now really you can create variations that have really, really good synergy. Or for certain situations, like you could play Mileena. The high side, for example, gives her a lot of abilities. Not only does it give her good zoning, it also beats things like Cetrion's Rock Wall because it's one side then another, beats Rain's portal that parries projectiles because she shoots 2. It also allows you to hit and block confirm certain strings. So her forward 4-3, which is full combo on block, she could do forward 4-3. If it hits, roll. If it's blocked, she can confirm the block, amplify side, keeps it safe. Or what if you're playing a character who really kind of like goes under stuff, right? Like they're doing a lot of low stuff that goes under your projectile, right? Then you can equip low side. So you're not like bound, like, I'm playing this character, this move is locked behind a custom wall that I can't use. It's for customs only. The move is right there. It would really, really help me in this situation, but for some reason I can't use it. I think the variation system finally feels complete, as opposed to I felt like MKX, and I was surprised that MKX did the variation system so much better than MK11. But I think it's just that they just didn't have time to test all the moves they put in, because they put 10 times the moves in this game as MKX. Then they had to decide what's custom, what's tournament. Did we have enough time to balance everything? No, we didn't. Okay, let's just lock these variations away, and then maybe we'll open up customs later. Now that customs are opened up, the variation system finally feels complete. The characters feel like they have that synergy, whereas I think they didn't before.
All right, man. Thank you for sharing. Let's go with Zyphox. What are you feeling?
Really liking the freedom that you have in selecting like your type of archetype and character. Like some characters fit multiple archetypes, and I feel like the tournament variations really didn't do them justice, right? I like Liu Kang, for example. Like he had that useless teleport for like no reason in his variation, and now it's just like, dude, now I could play this character to like its full potential and add low fireball in there. And now he has that command grab, and it's just like, yo, this variation makes Liu Kang out of this world good. You know, he's probably like definitely top 3 now. But I'm having a lot of fun with Rain. I've always wanted to play as like a ninja. I don't like any ninja, fun fact, but Rain is the only one that I actually like. So I was like, fuck it, he's in his game. And my variation right now, I have what is this called? The geyser palm, the tidal wave, and hydro boost. That's gonna be his best variation. Mark my words. And because the character gets to do like a Jackie style type pressure while having a safe special and tidal wave, and it's a low, and it mixes off of his like 1-3-3 string. I don't know if it's an actual mix because it's 21 frame startup, but it's pretty good. Actually, his overhead starts 16, so you could fuzzy it overhead low. Still, it's pretty good though.
Zyphox, we're gonna have to do some battle with our Rains. I think I have the Scorpius Rain loadout.
I know. I have. That's my first loadout that I ever made, and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna start like dive kicking people and doing all this crazy shenanigans, and I'm like, But when I'm up close, I miss tidal wave, dude, because you could just like, it's a safe special. Like barely anybody has like safe meter burn special.
Well, I think my issue
you just EX projectile.
exactly. Like you already have a save special, just the EX projectile. That I think even jails of some low pokes. Yeah, if you just you can't have the bubble. Obviously, you need that. Whatever that weapon is called. So tidal wave is kind of almost like waste of slot. Now it does do more damage than the than
it is -5. See, the frame data is wrong in the fucking. I didn't know that this is safe.
So you're wasting a special by equipping.
Okay, never mind that.
Well, I mean, tidal wave could be better for neutral, but
yeah, it might be,
I don't think it's necessary for him to have like a safe special plus because he has the projectile.
That's right. But let me ask Crimson. Crimson, what are you thinking? What are you liking so far?
Yeah, there are a few things that I like. Number one is I think the new characters are fantastic. One of the things that I like about them is that neither one of these 3 new DLC plays like the others, right? Like Rambo, Rain, and Melina cannot be more different from each other. But then, even within some of these characters, with their toolkits, there are different ways to play each one, right? Like the Rambos that are focusing on, say, the Claymore are going to play completely different from a Rambo that doesn't have that equip. So I remember one of the big critiques about this game from the start was, well, we've seen how this character plays on day 1, and now it's day 572, and they're still playing exactly the same. And I think that already we're starting to see different people's personalities come out, and I think that's really cool. Aside from that, Customs opens up some playstyles that may not have been as volatile before and now are extremely effective. For example, if you're a zoning-oriented player, you can find a character where you can equip multiple zoning moves and zone to your heart's content, right? You're not just locked into the presets, but you can really make characters play how you want to play. And I think we're starting to see people pick things that really favor their individual personality. Aside from that, I think the system changes really do change a lot. I said in the last podcast that to me, this isn't the last patch, right? This isn't the guide. We rebalanced everything. It's perfect now. It's finished. But in previous games, they would do things where like they would make a bunch of system changes, and then they would also rebalance the game at the same time. And you ended up with a lot of situations where unintended side effects would stack the changes. So, for example, like in MKX, right? They did a bunch of system changes at the same time that they did a rebalance. And so you heard people like Rio always says, oh, well, when they took away the armored launchers, it affected this character and that character and stuff like that. And so I think it's really hard to both anticipate all of the effects that system changes will have on the cast and on the tier list, and at the same time make balance changes to every character to balance them out as well. So if I had to guess, I'd say this is not the last patch. It's good because it shakes things up. Now people can play it and they can see which characters are actually the biggest winners and losers from the system changes. For example, right away, Kano, Sub-Zero, Frost, Kodo, all of them are significantly better due to either having custom variations open or for characters like Kano and Frost, finally being able to use their main tools, right? Like forward 1-2 and the auger without having them whiff on half the cast. I think we just need to be patient, you know? I think we should see where things land, and ultimately they'll probably drop another balance patch as well. But already the things that I'm seeing from this patch are extremely promising, and I think it makes the game much more interesting to play.
All right, thank you for sharing. Now we have talked about the positives. What do you think are some negatives that you dislike the patch? About the patch, about the game still in general that are concerning to you. With what might happen, what might not happen. Let me go with Mike. Is there anything
Okay,
that concerns
so
you? Yeah, go ahead.
just one major thing pops into my head. It's not really even a big deal, but so they said about when you're picking your character, you could straight up pick the moves after you pick your character, like you're picking a variation. I looked into it, and you could turn on tournament mode offline. You can do that offline, but they still haven't put it online when maybe you're playing like rank sets or playing private match against somebody. You still have to make the custom variation and play them. So I would like to see them put it online, like picking the moves on the fly while you're picking your character. That's just one complaint, but I believe they will do it eventually. I don't know why they put it offline that you could do it and not online. But I'm not a developer or anything. But I think that was really the only complaint. I can't think of too much more right now because the game is fresh. Yeah, I would just like to see that in the game.
Thank you. That's a great point. I think that's one of the points many people in the community have been, already like, wait a minute, why is this uncompetitive? When you go to competitive matches, like you said, it's there offline. But then when you're in practice mode, oh my God, I forgot to equip this move. So I gotta go back to customize it again all the way, like I gotta look for
Yeah,
it. It just takes so much time. It just wastes time when it should take like a couple of seconds, right? To make the adjustment. So I'm definitely with you on that. I think they're like you said, I think they're most likely gonna implement that. They probably just ran out of time and stuff, which is unfortunate. But I'm sure we'll see it, in a patch or two. Rio, what about you?
I don't really have any complaints so far. I guess the mic one you brought up, where you can't customize your characters in rank, because it is kind of annoying having to go back and customize. But I also think that they're going to add that in the future, next patch probably. The only other thing I really want to see for this game is a Wi-Fi filter, or if you play someone on Wi-Fi, to just decline and not play them. That's like the only thing I want. Because apparently other games like Tekken have that feature now. You play somebody and it shows that they're on Wi-Fi, you can just not play them. But I don't really have any complaints so far. I think one issue that I do see people talking about is some people are saying some characters are going to end up being like one variation only. I kind of saw that with Melina a little, not really with Rambo and Rain. I feel like Rambo and Rain you can kind of equip whatever because there's so many options. But with Melina, when I played her, I felt like at almost all times there was no reason to not have her command throw and her extra strings equipped. So I usually always had command throw, always had her extra strings equipped, and then I would sometimes be like, okay, do I want to have aerial teleport with the normal size, or do I want to have low size for some matchups where I need it? And that was pretty much it with her.
All right. Slips, what are you thinking?
As far as what do you like? As like for a
Yeah,
negative?
like some stuff that you still don't like about the game, or maybe some stuff that they added with the patch that you don't like, or they didn't add.
I mean, I guess I'll just say things I've been hearing. Like people are upset that some of the moves are still like locked out, or some moves are banned, or some combinations are still banned, and I can kind of see that. I guess like I was looking at Rambo, and like the first thing I thought of was snare trap mixed with claymore, and then you couldn't use it. I was like, oh my god. um, but I mean, I haven't really like it's. I don't know. It's not a huge deal to me right now. Maybe down the line I'll be more upset about it. But that's just been things I've been hearing people complain about. But me personally, it hasn't really conflicted with me too much at this point yet.
Thank you, Tom. I want to ask you as well, and I don't know whether the other co-hosts, maybe they just don't realize it, or maybe they're afraid to say it. I do think something needs to be said about the fact that people are calling for nerves already, and whether NRS is going to listen to those people. Um, what are you thinking, and what are you hearing?
Well, for me, unfortunately, I have the misfortune of loving the most hated character, like probably ever in Mortal Kombat currently.
Over Jackie, come on,
Yeah,
dude.
that's a tough one to beat.
But Jackie's not in 9. She's not in
Bro,
10.
people spent the past year complaining about Jackie
Yeah,
nonstop.
what I mean to say is, remember when Ed Boon was trolling about, hey guys, what if I re-release MK9 and Injustice with GGPO netcode? If MK9 got released, they would keep the tier list the same except for one character. Sub-Zero would go from bottom 10 to top 3 overnight.
Or they would just choose Kenshi if they hate him that much in 9-1 year.
Okay, well, this is today's generation, so I wouldn't put too much faith in that. Because they would cry so much, Kenshi would get nerfed before they could 9-1 anybody. So I mean, like they would be like, Kenshi's so broken.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about they would cry about MK9 for sure.
Like, let's nerf
But
him.
I just don't agree with Sub-Zero being the most cried
What I
about
mean
character, at
is,
least for
well,
this
I don't
game.
want to get into that. I was just making a joke, man. What I mean to say is that like there's stuff in the game that okay, you want to lab, you want to put stuff together, and people are like, "Oh, that's broken." They don't want to lab on it. They just look at, well, I don't like having to deal with this. There are lots of things in the game that I don't like dealing with. But it's like, okay, I don't know if it's too good. Let me play against it. I want to practice against it, But I just feel like it's just like they see something and they're like, oh my God, it's too good. It has to go. It has to go. Which is kind of like what got us in this predicament to begin with. It's MK11's kind of weird in that we said we wanted this balanced game. They stripped everything down when the game came out. But of course, then there was pre-patch Gearus, like day one Gearus, day one Cetrion, etc. People were like, oh my God, these characters are broken. But the rest of the cast was so stripped down that those characters felt extra broken, even though, respectively to other NRS characters in past games, they were not. Even with Jackie, we're like, oh my God, she's so broken. But even though, respectively, compared to like other NRS characters, like Demo Sonya, for example, or like, pre-patch Tanya, whatever, that's nothing. So, but then we got to the point where we're like, you know what? We're tired of these characters having freedom. What about our freedom? NRS says, all right, you know what, man? Maybe we were too harsh on you guys. Maybe you guys can handle your freedom. Here you go. And the very first day we get it back, we want everything nerfed. So I'm a bit concerned with that because I'm hoping that they show the same patience that they had with us over the last year now that we have this. People are always going to overreact. A lot of people aren't used to having this combination of freedom. And normally you didn't have to lab to this extent because you just didn't have this type of stuff in the game. So I feel like, I'm a little concerned with that. But, that's, I think, to be expected in any game today. But so that I'm a little concerned about. And like for right now, the drop-down menu, like Mike said, is a little irritating. I mean, 3, 4, 5 months from now, when everybody knows the characters they want to play, and they've got like all 7, 6, however many variations all loaded out, that probably won't be a problem. But when there's so much experimenting to be done, to not have that in practice mode or combat league or in any mode, when you want to do the most experimenting, I think just becomes a little tedious. So that's a little irritating. But besides that, it's really, I don't like some of the restrictions because I feel like some stuff is kind of like, why? I don't know. I look at some characters and like, well, why can they equip? Like, for example, you're like, well, Rambo, he can't have this or that or he'd be broken. But then, like, I look at Aaron Black, not that he's broken, and I don't think that Rambo would be broken either, but you say, okay, he can have Scud Shot, so you can't zone him. He'll have Command Grab and Locked and Loaded, so you can't zone him. When he gets in, he'll kill you when he hits you. And then, even though you can react to this offline, not online, Rio's telling you, just do double fuzzies all day, then he's doing overheads with Command Grabs when he gets in. So it's like, okay, well, that's not broken, but why would you not say, well, hey, he can't have this, this, and this, but then say, well, Rambo can't have that. Melina, she can't have high and low side. I don't. That's kind of weird to me when we deem moves fit for tournament, but then say they'd be broken if they're together before we get even a chance to even see if they're actually broken together. So that is kind of weird. But other than that, I think the game is fine. I mean, like, it's kind of like we're all going to experiment. We all have like our initial whatever. I don't really think anything's broken. I don't really think anything is like whatever. I think everything is right where it needs to be. And I think people just need to like appreciate what we have.
Well, I think you made a good point because I was going to ask Zyphox Ness is the fact that certain moves are banned, like an ice bottle or terminate, or I understand why certain, like, I use RoboCop, and I understand why the what is it called, that one shot is banned because it literally shakes the screen and hits the screen. Like, that's just, I think I don't think that's a good move. They just banned it because it would probably be obnoxious, right? And we don't like stuff that, like, shakes the screen and stuff like that for no reason. But then, like, certain stuff is banned, like you just talked about Aaron Black, but yet RoboCop is not allowed to have flamethrower and the command grab in the same variation because they don't want you to, they don't want you to do like a string into plus whatever 17 and then run up and grab. But but then certain other characters kind of have like the same thing. So it's kind of like almost, wait a minute. And that's the one thing that I initially got very upset about, was that it's like they don't want to balance these moves, so they just ban them and they don't let us use certain combinations because they don't like it. But that's not,
I mean, you're being a little misleading with the RoboCop and Aaron Black thing, though. RoboCop is a mid-command throw. Aaron doesn't.
I understand that, but look at Aaron Black's string and everything as a whole, though. He's so much better. I understand, the character design, RoboCop is meant to have bad strings because he is a zoning character. But you have to take everything, in the whole package into consideration here. And that's one thing I think that needs to be criticized. On top of the stuff Mike talked about with the drop-down menu. But gameplay-wise specifically, I think it's, I don't see how you don't call it lazy, because it's like, not just kind of like, no, you know what, customs, but not for all the characters, just for some of them. Don't you think that's hypocritical?
I mean, I honestly haven't really seen people complaining about Aaron that much these 3 days, but I have seen people complaining about characters like Noob, Sub-Zero, and Liu Kang, because apparently those 3 characters are ridiculously boosted by customs now. Noob Saibot, Sub-Zero, and Liu Kang.
Yeah.
What do you guys feel about that? Do you guys think those 3 characters are dramatically better than they were before?
Well, let's ask the Liu Kang players, Zyphox, because you already mentioned that he might be top 3 or 5, whatever. Which variation, which special moves do you put together that you think make him a lot stronger?
I think that all of his other variations are missing low fireball. So when you combine, and you can do like multiple like variations too, which is what I like about it, is that it's any variation. First move you put is low fireball. Then you can go Wuxi Legend and have the teleport shenanigans with the 2 bars that he has on that, and get rid of the reflect. Or you can go to the third tournament variation, because he doesn't have that many moves, right? So you go low fireball, command grab, and I personally put either a stance or I put the energy, the flame up or whatever against extra damage. And so you have just like an extra layer of mind games. Now back one just becomes a crazy string where it's like back one tick grab, back one complete the string. And shit is so delayed and there's no gap where it's just like it's a guess. There's no way you're reacting. And then if you do get hit and he happens to have, fire on, you're getting hit for even more damage. And it just makes him like, okay, up close you definitely can't fuck with him. And then it's like the rest is history.
Wait a minute,
so essentially he's way better than he was before, and he was already one of the better characters before.
Yeah, the thing why it makes it better is like, so Liu Kang had a huge issue without low fireball, especially against 6 framers, because he had no fireball. So his staggers, where he would block and then you would poke and he would block your poke and get his turn back, they're getting guaranteed down 1. And then you put it now in this game, With the down ones now, those variations would be done. DONE, done, because he wouldn't have low fireball. Now he can have low fireball and he can have his teleport. So he has both options in one. So you can't just always disrespect him. You also have to be mindful of one thing or another. So he's just more complete. But I think that's the point. Every character is more complete. But people are not focused on their character because it's so easy to not do the work yourself. It's so easy to say, oh, you know why I don't put in any work? See Liu Kang? That's why. It's broken again. That's
love it.
what people are doing. That's really
Well, just to reiterate here, Zyphox, so people are equipping the low fireball, the command grab, I guess, and the teleport. Is that what you're saying?
No, the low fireball command grab, and then the flame on. I don't even know what the fuck it's called. Where he turns on fire.
Yeah,
and
with the
then you use-
teleport option, yeah.
Fire buff.
Yeah, the fire buff. But the teleport is a different. Is a different slot. So you need both of them. You need the flame buff and you need the teleport gifts. Yeah.
Oh, is it
really
called Dragonfire? Is that what it's called? Most likely.
Yeah, Dragonfire is what the special is called, and then like this Dragonfire's gifts or some shit is the teleports.
I know, but if you're putting low fire already, that's one slot, and you put the command grab, that's two slots, and
Yeah,
you
so
put the
then they
dragon.
just put the fire.
just
So they
Dragon
don't
Fire.
have the teleport. What he's
Yeah.
saying is they have the flame on and
Yeah.
the teleport are two separate things. So the flame is one, and then you can equip the extra part to that. But they're just equipping it just for the damage boost, and then they're giving the.
I know, but I just want to make sure: is this the variation? So low fireball, the Kusari slam, and the dragon fire. Is that the one? Is that the one? Okay, I got it. I just want to make sure because I'm trying to like learn, what people are actually equipping. Sometimes I don't get the information. I want to make sure our audience knows what people are using. Well, Crimson, what about that? Address that. Like, what? I remember Sonic Fox said, "All right, let me predict the meta 1 month in advance. Mid projectile, low projectile, check. Command grab, check. And random move that kind of covers my weakness, check." That's literally what they said a month ago. And here it is. At least in theory, one of the best characters in the game in Liu Kang with this combination. And by the way, so also Melina. If you look at Foxy play, again, low projectile, command grab. She as a teleport as a default. And I forgot the last thing that he adds. I don't remember right now. But it's kind of like similar to this. And even RoboCop, who's not as good as these characters. Low fireball, command grab, and the spikes. I mean, you can mention Aaron Black, same thing. Geras, same thing. Are we seeing a pattern here?
I mean,
I think it's case by case basis because if you look at characters like Sub-Zero, Noob, and Frost and so on that are super good this patch with customs, they have no command grab. They're just way better in general.
yeah, I was just gonna say, I think it depends a lot on the tier list. I think the meta is still gonna be shaped a lot by which characters are good. And, if you play characters that are good without those tools because their base kit is already good and they're still okay because they were top tier already and the patch didn't really lower them much and they're still going to be good, right? Like, Cetrion is still going to be good. Joker is still going to be good. Jackie is still going to be good. So I think regardless of which characters have that combination of command grab and zoning and things like that, like, Cetrion doesn't need to become a command grab character to be good. She's still going to be top tier. And so I think a lot of people are just going to continue to play what's good. With that said, I think we still need to see, especially with the newer characters, but also with characters that have options opened up before that they didn't have before, we still need to see which combinations are best. Like, can anybody definitively say right now what the absolute best layout is for, say, Rain? Or, even for Rambo, I'm not sure.
I think that'd be foolish to try to say that now, but yeah.
But this also ties into the question that you asked before, right? So for things that could be a possible criticism, I think for some people, they were waiting a long time to get some help, right? If you're one of those people who was playing, say, Shao Kahn or Baraka before this patch, I think a lot of them were thinking, okay, we've been patient. It's been a year and a half. This is going to be the patch where we really get to play the game now. And this was not that patch. And I think across the board, what this patch does for you is really dependent on who you play, right? Like I said, there's a category of characters that are like, they're super happy now because their characters are great now, right? Like Sub-Zero, Kodo. there's a category that's kind of like, you know, we made it. We're still good. We didn't get nerfed, you know? Like Jackie and Cetrion. You have characters like Liu Kang, who's already really good and is maybe even better now. And then you have some characters where this didn't really change their meta drastically. And so I think who you play determines a lot of who's happy with this patch and who's not. And then overall, I just wanted to say, as far as things that still need some love, 100%, I think Fatal Blows. I do not think that the 6-frame flawless block window. I think it's too situational, right? You have to read that they're gonna do it. You have to time it perfectly. You have to bet your life on the timing of a move that, in a lot of cases, people are using in neutral, or they're using it as whiff punish. They're using it to check your movement. To date, I have not seen someone flawless block a fatal blow. That doesn't mean that people won't lab it, but I still would love to see them change fatal blows so that they go away when you use them. You know, if you whiff it or it's blocked, I still think it should go away, and hopefully they'll do that eventually.
All right, thank you. That's something people want. I think with the way a couple of the other fighting games work in that respect. You know, you have Tekken, like, who has kind of like more or less the same mechanic with the rage drive and the rage arts, and Street Fighter with the V triggers. Like, there's like an emphasis on making stupid comebacks. And even in Tekken, there was a recent patch last week that kind of tried to nerf that. And obviously, Street Fighter has been nerfing V triggers since its existence. And even NRS with the fatal blow. So we'll see what they do. It will be interesting to see. Obviously, if you have a half screen fatal blow, you kind of like it, right? Because it lets you steal rounds and kind of say, you know what, never mind neutral, I'm just going to throw this out, and if they block it, they're going to have a difficult time
get it back.
What's
Right.
that?
I said, yeah, if they block, if you're at half screen and they block it, chances are by the time they get in, they might get it again, you know? So, yeah, it's like, why not throw it out, you know?
Yeah. I want to keep the podcast mostly positive. So I also want to focus on learning. I think there's a lot of stuff to digest with all these special moves, because we're talking about so many combination of moves that people can put together. And I would like for each one of you to give me like one or two characters that you use, kind of like your main characters, and kind of give us the special moves that you equip that you think make the character the best version of him or her. Let's start with Mike.
Okay, so we're talking about characters we used before this patch.
No. Talk about the characters that you use right now and the kind of like
right now.
the special moves that you equipped. So we kind of like know, okay, if I go into play Combat League, I'm playing a friend. This is kind of what I may be facing. You see what I'm saying? Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So with Rambo, I like characters that just have setups. Like, if I get a combo, I like sacrificing damage for a setup and getting more pressure off. So with Rambo, I went for the Claymore. So I'll do like combo and not end it with like slide or whatever, and I'll just go with like a little combo into Claymore, or little combo into the grenade where the airstrike comes down at
That's
you.
right. So for people who don't have the character, Claymore is the unblockable like mine, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I even tried Raiden a little bit, and I went with the lightning because I would end combos and on knockdown, put the lightning out, and now you have to block. I get a free jump in, more pressure. I just always loved characters with setups. Zoning and setup characters my favorite. So um I try to like choose my moves on that, trying to make them the best zoning setup character I can possibly figure out. Um, like even with Kano, I gave him the move where he doesn't allow you to jump anymore, and then he has the command grab and stuff like that. I had a lot of fun playing like Johnny Cage. I gave him the stunt double where he calls out the guy, and even if you hit Johnny Cage, like the guy will still run out and like hit you. That stuff like that has just always been fun to me. And since I've been playing this patch, when I was like, messing around with Rambo Rain a little bit, I noticed you could be like, okay, maybe I have a friend that he doesn't like know about frame data or setups that much. He just wants big combos. you could have a big combo Rambo, you could have a big combo Rain. You could have a setup Rain, you could have a setup Rambo. Like the way I looked at this patch, I was like, wow, I haven't played every character, but it would seem like you could almost have like, oh, I have, an Aaron Black that zones. Oh, I have an Aaron Black that sets up. Oh, I have an Aaron Black that's good at rushdown. Like you can like no character like is like, oh, that's a zoner character. Like they could be whatever you want them to be. And I hope every character has it. Shit, like even Cetrion, I haven't played her. Like I know she's a zoner at the most part, but that would be cool if like someone found moves that it's like, oh, her boulder's gone, like all the zoning's gone. She has command grabs now. Like they're not tied to, oh, they're just this character now. They're everything. They're setups if you want it. They're zoning, and I think it's beautiful. Like I like that your character is just like not tied down. So when tournaments come back or whatever, and hey, this guy, he loves to zone. Like if you were playing my Quan Chi back in MKX and we had these abilities, like oh, I love zoning with Quan Chi. I'm gonna pick a character has mad rushdown, like, and that will beat this. Like I would. That's cool that they're going this route, I think. But what you guys were saying about when these moves are all fleshed out and stuff, and it's mostly going to be like, oh, it's Liu Kang with these 3 moves, and that's it. Like it kind of like reminds me of Third Strike. I know we play MK, but like I'm a fan of Third Strike, and every character has 3 supers that you can choose from, but it never went down to. It always came down to this character, high level, has this one super everyone picks, and that's it. Like I hope it really becomes like a matchup thing where, okay, at mostly high level, this Liu Kang variation might win, but if this guy picks Aaron Black, this variation, then it's not going to work, and you have to play another thing, and I hope it works out that way. But the history of fighting games, at least from what I've witnessed throughout the years, is it always does eventually come down to the most OP moves. And I just hope it doesn't come down to that. I hope it's like, oh, if I want to pick zoning, I can pick zoning and not worry about this guy like totally just picking the most OP thing, and so it makes me not pick zoning, and it makes me have to resort to my OP moves with my character. I hope it doesn't come down to that. But
Well,
it's so hard.
yeah, I do think there will be some variability. Just like quick example before I ask Rio. Like for example, with RoboCop, you can equip. So you pretty much, it's like when Zyphox talked about low fireball. Well, guess what RoboCop's low fireball is? You have to have that move. You just have to. Like that move must be, because all the other uh projectiles that he has suck. So you have to have, the low auto. You probably have to have spikes because they stop dashing, and it kind of acts like Aaron Black's acid, right? It's very good at chipping out. It's super important for him because he has low damage. So you want to have that option at the end, at the end of the round, just kind of cheese him out like that. And then it's probably a combination of, are you going to have the command grab, which doesn't really kind of like complement his gameplay because you want to use the throws because he has a crushing of both throws, so you don't want to do command grab too much. Or you can switch the command grab with the charge move. And that's really it. Like, I mean, all the other moves are not that good. They're just not. And I think that's most likely, at least for that character, what you're gonna see. But let me ask Rio, from the characters that you have used, even if they're the new characters, what are some combinations that you're experimenting with that you think are the best?
Yeah, I mean, just to touch on what Michaelangelo was saying, I think it's ultimately later down the road, once people get a lot of experience in, it may boil down to possibly 1 or 2 variations at most they're going to be switching. Because out of the 3 DLCs that I've been playing, I only really felt that with Melina. With Rambo, I was kind of like, okay, I want to try something else or see how this is. The only move I felt like I had to have with Rambo, just from my playstyle, is I liked his low crawl. I really like that. That's the only move I wanted for me. But I don't think you need to have that. Rain too. I feel like Rain, you can kind of have him however you want. Melina, though, playing her, I don't think there's ever a reason to not have her command grab or her extra strings. I think for the 3rd move, you can kind of swap and choose what you want, but ultimately, you're always going to have those 2 moves with her if you want to win. I haven't played Noob yet or the other characters, but if I do have some loadouts, like if I play Noob and Scarlet again, with Noob, I'll probably have Dark Sabbath, but get rid of the Air Scythe teleport thing with his safe Shadow Strike. So he's safe off every string. And that'll make him way better, because now you have a character that can hit confirm, into monstrous damage, and then on block he can be safe with a Shadow Strike. And for Scarlet, I would have Boiling Point with the teleport, and then have one move either be parry or the other move where you put up what's it called? Whatever move she has, but yeah. So I kind of see what you guys are talking about.
Slips, can you briefly talk about the characters you're using, even though you kind of already, I guess, touched upon them? The characters you use and what are the special moves that you're equipping to let the audience know what they can expect when they play a friend.
Well, what I've been using, I did briefly mention before, was Misery Blade and the Fire Breath, mainly because the Fire Breath is pretty good to throw out in neutral, and if it hits, he gets a free back to Misery Blade, like pseudo mix-up kind of gets in your grill for free. He can end he can use 2 bars and do like a 35% combo into a restand into a back to Misery Blade, like kind of a mix-up type thing. So he can get to Half-Life pretty quick without much sweat. That's pretty cool. So I've been messing around with that. Misery Blade's got a lot of option selects too, so that'll take some time to master, but that's pretty cheap too. And then the Fake Telly, I think like for Scorpion, it's either going to be Misery Blade or Fake Telly is like going to be like your base, and then what your special is going to be after that determines like. So with Fake Telly, the normal fireball is really good for people who just like to just low profile all day and try and get under the spear and teleport. So then you have the fireball to kind of check people, and you can kind of zone and just keep running away with it. Like that's pretty cheap. The Fake Telly having death spin's pretty good because then it's got good chip out, which is like an issue with him sometimes.
Yeah.
Having the Demon Dash is good because it gives him extra damage, and maybe he can punish things with that maybe the spear wouldn't be able to.
That move has been nerfed, just so people know, right? I think it went from like something crazy, like 6 or 7 frames to like
7 frames.
Yeah,
to
7
12.
frames to 12. So just so people know, the move has been nerfed, but I think for obvious reasons.
Yeah. It's probably for the best. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want the dumb ones punished or whatever. They're low pokes from like half screen. But yeah,
And then the burning spear is also good with Fake Telly too, because the Fake Telly just does the least amount of damage, and then so you can pick certain loadouts to increase the damage for your Fake Telly, or you can pick like Fireball or Fire Breath to either keep momentum or increase your neutral. And then as far as Rambo goes, I kind of thought the same thing Michaelangelo did. Like you're either going to have the combo type Rambo, or you get the snare trap, and the command grab, and you can do some damage, and you can just kind of play with him like really fundamentally because he's got really good movement. And then like Michaelangelo said, he kind of outzones pretty well. So that's he's interesting and like that. I want to look into that. And then the Claymore is cheap, man, because he can lay that thing down, and its hitbox extends really far, like in front of him, but he can stand right behind it, no problem at all. So that's pretty cheap. Like so you can combine the Claymore like with the log trap and just spam that thing all day. Even like the normal thing that doesn't have. It's like, what is that little called? The little tripwire thing, a little trip hook thing, like even that replaces the log trap, like even that's not bad. And then, like Mike said, you can put the airstrike in with it as well. Yeah, like that can get really, you can troll people with that. Certain matchups, that's probably pretty hard for certain characters to get around.
Yeah, if you play maybe if you play a Jackie, she has the projectile. You let that Claymore sit there while you just sit back and do your projectile stuff. That sounds almost
Ice Clone-ish.
Hey, thank you very much.
Yeah.
No, dude, I have to say the Claymore. I'm very surprised that they didn't make it go away on block or hit, because every other trap type move in the game either goes away on hit or block.
Yeah,
so
that's.
I was very surprised with it.
Yeah, so I think like Rambo is like, depending on the matchup, you're gonna pick Claymore and just Ice Clone all day, or you're gonna just pick the combo and just play like fundamentally. But I do gotta say I gotta get going to work, guys. So Appreciate you guys
But yeah,
having
no
me
problem,
on.
man. Thank you for joining.
top
It's been
meeting
a
you,
while.
man.
It's good to have you back.
Yeah, and let me know next time you guys have this. I'm down
Oh,
for
you know,
real.
I always text you, man. It's not a problem.
Sweet. All right, guys. Thanks for
All
having
right,
me.
bye.
All right, man.
All
Later.
right, please.
Well, let me ask Tom. So you talked about Sub-Zero and Melina. Which combination of moves are you using for those two characters?
For Sub-Zero, it's pretty much Rising Ice is the only mandatory slot, which is pretty cool because it's a one slot ability, at least for today. Uh, and if that changes, it'll be the last day. But it's a one slot ability, so it gives you freedom to So some builds are mandatory. I think Scorpion's one of them because to teleport, for example, the fake, it just allows you to hit confirm off single attacks. Back two, you can input the teleport, and if it's blocked, you hold forward or down for the fake to keep yourself somewhat safe. And if it hits, you just let it rip and amplify. Same thing on forward three, the ability to hit confirm off your single hit forward three. I think that the highest level, that's invaluable. So it's a 2-slot move, but having a 1-slot move being so dominant is really good because it gives you some room to play with. The ice launcher, the deep freeze, you don't need it at all. Sub-Zero has been trading with fireballs for years before he had that move. He doesn't need it to win a trade. And slide also makes it almost impossible for any character to even attempt to zone you. If you have slide, people aren't even trying to zone you, so there's no reason to even have the EX ice ball because they're not going to try to zone you anyway because of the crouching slide. So I just use I've been using creeping ice, and then I use and creeping ice is good because what happens is you have certain situations where like you do your down one. And a trait among great characters in this game is the ability to take a shot, and then if it hits, they get something, and if it's blocked, they reset neutral. His ability to of down one or down three jails you with 2-1, and the cancel window is so large that you're able to hit confirm for ice ball, but if it's blocked, you can simultaneously confirm the block and go to creeping ice and reset neutral. So it's a very powerful tool that's shared amongst a lot of the game's biggest characters. The ability to do massive damage off the overhead or low, especially in the corner, makes him a corner combo character again, which is pretty much, for those who think Mortal Kombat 11 is the first MK game ever made, Sub-Zero has always been a corner character through the majority of the Mortal Kombats, at least the 2D ones. That's been kind of like his thing. It kind of keeps like that now. He does massive damage. But again, the overhead is the Rising Ice is very unsafe. So, I mean, it is a 50-50 and the low option is safe, but he's a corner character. I feel like it's fair. For Melina, I like the high side more than the low side for almost every matchup, just because it gives her the ability to, again, do strings that are normally full combo punishable, her forward 4-3. It's like -10, you're dead. So she can do that, and if it hits, roll big damage. If it's blocked, cancel in the side, and make it safe. So it gives her the ability to reset neutral in those type of situations. So I basically go high side, the command grab, and then it's kind of like high side is the default move. So you have the command grab. Then I have the play time with the other strings, and then you can kind of really play around with whatever move. You can use air telekick or whatever. It's kind of tough to find, or maybe air sai. You can really go either or. It's there really is no best in slot third move for her. So
Can you just briefly, because you mentioned the Rising Ice with Sub-Zero,
yeah.
but from what I'm hearing, that most people complain about is this. Obviously they keep the slide. They have the creeping ice. Then they equip the meter burn ice ball, right? The one that goes through the projectiles.
Yeah.
And what's the third? What is the third thing that they usually equip?
Well, no one uses meter burn ice.
Nobody uses that?
No.
Okay, I wouldn't say nobody. Comet League got some of them using that shit.
Well, there are some people who, share the same brain as a dinosaur. But I mean,
I mean, it's not a bad move. What do you
there's no
mean?
point.
How's the
There's no
X-Ice
point
ball
in doing
bad?
it. No one's going to be throwing a fireball anyway because you already have a slide. You can't throw a fireball. He'll always slide it.
That's true. But what's the combination that Rio has just
So
mentioned?
So here's the problem. You use
They just use deep freeze, the safe, what's it called, creeping
Creeping
ice,
ice.
and the ice launcher.
Yeah,
you
Rising
can't
Ice.
you can't have all three of them.
You can't?
Deep freeze is 2 slots.
Oh, then they have the deep freeze and the meter burn ice.
Well, the problem is it's too much of a meter eater. So like you use I'm running away. I got deep freeze and take my shot. Bam, deep freeze, bitch. Right, but you block it, and now you only have 1 bar. So now what are you going to do? Come in and mix with the deep freeze? Okay, now you have no bars. You can't even use the rising ice. So 1, they both kind of cancel each other out, and 2, if you're using your crouching slide where you can punish projectiles without having to guess, you save yourself a 2-slot move. I mean, you could literally use.
Actually, the Sub-Zero I fought today, I just remembered. He didn't even have, what's it called? The rising ice. He just had deep freeze and slide and creeping ice.
Yeah, they use that because they both cancel each other out. So you wouldn't use them both. And you can use deep freeze if that's like your thing. But to have them both wouldn't work. Just
No,
because
I see what you're saying.
Bro, can we talk about the best buff characters this patch, though?
What?
Definitely Katana and Kotal.
Kitana? What? How?
He got buffed this patch.
She
Over all the characters, Katana and Kotal got the most buffs this
Hold
patch.
on, I'm about to get upset. You better explain yourself.
Okay, so
Katana's not the
Kotal got a buff that's a double
No.
whammy. So Kotal got 2 significant buffs that, when paired together, are a really good situation.
I'm surprised they buffed Kotal that much. I thought he was like already a good character.
Kotal, his forward 2-4 used to be, I think, -7 or something like that, -9.
Yeah, it's -5 now.
Wait, what's
So-
forward 2-4? Is that the long
Yeah,
range?
so I used to
Okay.
always be able to
It's full
down
screen
1.
stream.
I used to always be able to get it down 1, right? Kotal against some characters, Kotal had to commit to something that was normally going to be unsafe to stop you from taking your turn back guaranteed. Now, not only is it safer, so we can do that in flawless block if you try to take your turn back, but he can also go ahead and, if you equip his disc from Bullock, because the disc, they increase the rate, they increase the hitbox of the first hit, and the fact that string is now -5. When you put them in conjunction, the flawless block gap is now gone.
Yeah, there's no mind game anymore. Now you have to kind of hold
So
it.
he's able to hunt a launcher. So if it hits, you're dead. And if it's blocked, guaranteed neutral reset. So it's very, 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 very powerful.
He's definitely the most buffed character overall.
But how can you
And
claim
he's better with customs too.
how can you claim that Kitana has been the most buff when she literally her move?
Because she received the most buffs. Have you seen every character's patch list?
I don't care.
this
I don't
version?
care about the patch notes. What I care about is,
Characters like Scarlet got like 0 buffs, but Katana got multiple.
dude. I don't.
I
care.
know you're mad that Razors got nerfed and they're garbage.
I'm not mad. Well, no, I don't think even they're garbage. They're
Here we
just
go,
like a
Crim.
regular.
Here it is.
What?
Crim, here it is.
You
Here it is.
So they're balanced
It's over.
in a game that's about balance.
It's over.
No, I'm. It's not. I don't want to talk about the razors, but the fact is the move got heavily nerfed. I think she plays
That's interesting because I had Katana players on my chat saying that they think she's better this patch because she has stronger mind games off Razors now.
How?
But then again, you haven't played Katana this patch, so why am I even talking to you about Katana?
That's a fair point. If I
Dave is the king of jumping the gun, not playing any match with any character before he says shit.
Well, she doesn't follow the meta right now. That's very strong, which is I'm just listening to Zyphox. You guys told me Zyphox is a god, and I'm listening to the god himself. And they said,
And you will admit Sub-Zero is the worst character in the game? You
Yeah,
can't,
Sonic
you
did
can't
say
pick and
Sub's the
choose when
worst.
you're going to listen to him. You either listen to him or you
well,
don't.
that was pre-push. Anyway, I don't want to make this conversation about myself or about Zyphox. I'm gonna move on, and I'll come back to this topic later. Let me ask Zyphox. You talked about Liu Kang already. Can you name us one other character? To get back on track here. Talk about which special moves you combine with your
I
secondary.
just want
It's
to thank you Twitter during the YouTube channel. I do think Sub-Zero is one of the top 5 characters in the game. I was just trolling you, Dave.
All right, no, that's fine. That's fine. Zyphox?
I use a lot of Fujin.
Okay.
And Skywalker with the air cyclone. You can easy converts without using defensive bar. It really changes the game for him because he always had to be off that defensive bar, and he could end up getting, being liable to get fucked up.
He has one banned move, right? Doesn't he, Fujin?
He has the ones that that mess with your normal attacks or whatever. It makes him extended range. That's his ban.
Okay, of course, anything that zones is banned. Not really surprising, but
real quick, I want to talk about the ban moves because I know there's this.
Hold on,
let me just
ask Crimson. We'll talk about that. We'll touch about Crimson. Can you name us at least one character that you use? Maybe Jackie, preferably. Talk because I know you have used her in the past. Can you talk about what you equip? If anything has changed, what's the best with her?
Yeah, I mean, since the patch, I've actually been playing Melina almost exclusively.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
And I think it's an interesting point that there's certain types of moves which are going to take a little longer to lap, right? Like right now, it seems like, having the playtime for extended combos, having the command grab, the telekick, it's like an extremely solid combination of moves. Like it covers a lot of situations. But I think that certain characters do have moves where it's like especially setup type moves, like the best uses for them are not always obvious on day one, right? Like it's possible maybe we'll end up finding something broken with, say, side slide that wasn't apparent on day one. Some weird setup, something on Oki, something like that, that'll make those moves viable. And then even some moves that are popular to be used now, people are finding different ways to use them. So I'll give you one example, like Rambo, right? Like Michaelangelo was mentioning earlier that you can kind of play lane with the Claymore, right? You can set it down, you can back up, you can zone, you can kind of harass people and make them come to you. But you can also use it in a very crazy kind of aggressive offensive way, right? Like I was watching Big D play. Big D was using a lot of setups with the shoulder roll and the Claymore. So because when you roll through them, it actually puts them on the other side and it puts them closer to the Claymore. So for example, if you put the Claymore down, you shoulder roll through them, right? And you do the overhead, the meter burn, right? If it hits, it splats. When it splats, when they wake up, they're actually waking up right on top of the mine. Or even if they block, it has so much pushback that in a lot of cases you can roll through them and meter burn, and if they block it, then they end up standing right on top of the mine. So I just say that to say that I think that moves like that, once the setups start to get fleshed out more and once people have more time with them, then I think we'll really see what they're really worth.
All right, fair.
Yeah, some moves aren't going to be I would just want to say Rain's cloud move seems like in theory it's going to be really cheap. I haven't personally labbed it yet, but I think it's going to have a lot of potential for it.
Wait, which move?
Yeah,
Rain's cloud. It's if you meter burn it, it's like it's like plus 80 on block and it gives you a full combo.
Wait.
Wait. Rain's Thundercloud.
The one
summons
that
it, you meter burn it?
Like the unblockable one?
No, it's not blockable.
It's
It's a meter burn one. It's strictly for doing seplar.
It's not.
You do a knockdown, you summon the cloud.
It's not in any of his tournament variations, so you have to go.
Yeah, you have to actually.
It's a two-part move. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It moves really slow. I really haven't. There's some setups with it, and it may be good, but again, it's kind of like too early to say. Because nobody knows the setup.
Yeah, you're gonna have to put some time into that. And then someone's gonna do it,
and you have to determine what's real and what's fake. Because some stuff looks super good. And then
and then they get up and punch you in the face.
Right,
and like, oh,
right. Oh, you can just do this.
First match in Combat League.
Right.
I think with Rain, you're definitely gonna have that up palm, or whatever I think is called, because that allows you to combo from 1-3-3, which is.
I feel like his most important move is the projectile. Honestly, when I was playing him,
but that's a default unless you switch the bubble.
No, I know, but it's like so good for him. I feel.
Yeah, definitely. You just don't want to make that switch. As long as you make that switch to the bubble, which is not worth it, you have the...
Yeah, the bubble's the only thing that gets rid of that.
Yeah, so you don't want to do that. And then because I watched Ninja Killer play Rain, and he was just spamming throws and obviously the movement into, the 1-3-3. And if it hit, he confirms it into the it's like a jet upstream. It's not even used as an anti... Yeah.
Boost.
No, I don't think it's that one. It's palm.
Guys,
It's the geyser, right?
Yeah, it's
Geyser.
the
Oh, the one that
geyser.
comes out of his hand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's that one. That's what he was spamming constantly. So that's kind of what he was doing. I think those two are probably a necessity. Um, but let's.
Hydro Boost is really good
Hydro
too.
Boost, a lot of people are equipping.
I
Yeah,
just got put onto that today.
I think
Yeah.
that move's super good, but it's also mega overrated right now, just because apparently it doesn't work on player
yeah.
control.
There's some shenanigans.
Yeah, that's the
apparently.
only. If they fix that, that move's gonna be
It's gonna
extremely
be
good.
Yeah, there's an article on Van Hobbs. I think it shows a couple of videos if you guys are more interested about the details. But I do want to discuss one final topic. And I think Rio, you mentioned. Did you want to discuss the band moves?
Yeah, I want to talk about the ban
Yeah.
move because right now, like, I see like so many people, at least on my stream, people going like, "This is so dumb." NRS banned this and that. I think the reason why some moves are banned right now is the same reason why NRS didn't release this game and have customs on day one, because they need extra time to figure out how to balance some moves. So I believe NRS is gonna make all moves able to use in tournament eventually. They just right now those moves are on hold, so they're gonna be temporarily banned until they figure out how to balance them and what they're gonna do, and then they're gonna unban them probably next patch or whatever.
I don't know about that. I just think some of these moves are not designed to be used in tournament play. But
Maybe a one or like a couple of them could be like the RoboCop one, but I think most of them are gonna end up not being banned eventually.
Listen, at the end of the day, whenever you come up with like some kind of customizable, let the player choose anything type of, there always has to be like a list, and on that list, there's going to be moves that are legal and moves that are not legal. If you have any type of like um creativity, right? Especially a lot of these these moves are very creative. You're eventually going to run into moves that are like, yeah, this can't really go. This and I don't. And I don't.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Zyphox. Like Yu-Gi-Oh! I know no one here plays that shit but us, so that's why I bring it up. But like Yu-Gi-Oh! You know how they have banned cards,
Mhm.
but then like decades later they make the same card but remake it so there's two versions of the same card? So what I think they're gonna do is this. For RoboCop, for example, he has the banned move, right? They're gonna remake the same exact move, but it's also not gonna shake the screen. It's gonna be the same shit. So then you're gonna have a move that you could choose for a loadout that's the same as that move, but it won't technically be the same because it's remade because it won't shake the screen. You kind of know what I mean?
I mean, I'd
So they're gonna probably do
make
that.
those moves cost 3 bars or 3 things on the.
Yeah, but that's kind of what I mean with balancing. If they wanted to do that to make them like, for example, Rain's Wave Dash, you can make that cost 3 bars and it won't be broken. if he has to give up everything for that.
Yeah,
that's for people who don't know, who don't have the character. Wave dash is a move where
It makes him move like it's MK9.
it looks like a
normal.
Block dashes on crack like everywhere.
yeah, it looks hilarious. But I want to discuss. I think we have to face the facts here, and I want everybody to comment briefly. I think the stuff that you see right now in the game, the freedom that you have, I think is going to be severely limited. If you don't think that they're going to start nerfing stuff, you're delusional. I'm talking about changing the slots, changing the combinations, nerfing the actual moves themselves. I know it's coming. It's just a matter when and what actually gets nerfed. Mike, am I
Oh,
wrong?
for sure.
Mike, am I right or wrong about this?
Like I think sadly you're right. I would love to see, like, it's always been a thing. People like, Liu Kang was great, Jackie was great at one point. So they pay attention to those characters and they keep crying nerf, 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 nerf. Instead, everyone got to cry buff to the low tiers. Stop
Mhm.
taking things away from our game and put things in the game, like make other characters more exciting where they want to play those characters. But sadly, it's not like that. People don't like, seeing people put a lot of hours into a game and succeed. They don't put as much hours and they just, well, I'm going to go on Twitter and make it harder for that person to win and keep making them feel bad for having a good character. Um, you are right and it sucks. I hope but the way they're going, they're on a good path. Like, I like what's happening with the game now. They're making it more open. So I hope you're wrong. And I hope that Rio is right with, like, because before we were saying, oh man, I wish customs were a thing. We were all saying in the beginning, oh, what if they're just like holding out to really make sure it's all balanced and stuff? Oh, look, it's the future, and look what's happened. We have customs now, so hopefully, um, eventually they'll see those moves, and like Rio said, oh, they'll just, balance those moves better and be like, okay, now you have everything. I would even go as far to say that I would love to see no moves conflict. Like, what if you can, like, okay, maybe some moves conflict, like, there's two back forward X's, so you can't choose that move because there's already a back forward 3 or whatever. But what if you can choose the direction and button? What if you can pick the custom move and you could be like, oh, I want it to be back forward 2 and not conflict with another back forward 2. That one will just be back forward 3 or whatever, like Skullgirls did it, where you can choose the assist you want by like inputting the move. That would be cool if I know I'm kind of reaching here, but that'd be cool if like no move conflicted. There's still maybe 2 slot moves, 1 slot moves, but what if it just didn't conflict? So now you're like, oh damn, everything's opened. Like I could do this move with this move finally, and it's amazing. Like that would be cool too.
Might as well.
Dude, honestly, I feel like a year from now we may be on that.
Maybe
No joke. I think they may do that.
3 special moves that you can pick, and he's just like, you can just get them all.
Yeah, or to make like for example, let's say we're playing MK11, right? We're in 2021, same day as today, right? It's a year from now, and NRS is like, okay, we're gonna freshen up the meta, we're gonna do this. They could do anything to make this game crazy. They could get rid of, having moves be an issue with other moves. They could do something like add an extra slot for everybody, so it's 4 slots now instead of 3.
That's what
Or they can even do what Tekken's doing, give everybody a brand new move to mess around with, like a custom move they want to equip and mess around with. Like this game has so much potential in terms of what NRS could do for us.
Yeah, and to address Dave's point, and also to kind of go along with what Michaelangelo was saying, although I do think it's a possibility, like, let's be honest, one of the things they've been really good at in this game so far in the balancing is that nerf bat, that heavy nerf bat that we saw in Injustice, that we saw in MKX, actually hasn't been used a lot in this game,
Yeah, it's been super tame.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Remember,
I think the hardest nerf characters are like Aaron and Scorpion, but they're still super good.
right? Like,
Gears too.
remember the talk before this patch where people are like, "Hey, you Jackie players, you better be counting the days. Get your wins
Yeah.
now." Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, or Setron players, your days are numbered.
Joker, yeah. And all those characters are still good. So I think there's hope for the fact that they won't use the ban system as a super heavy way to nerf characters that are doing too good,
Well, I want to hit on something real quick because something
Go ahead.
Angelo said and something Dave joked around about on my stream when I was labbing Sub-Zero. So to Mike's point, I really feel like people they're like, well, you got to lab, you got to whatever. And then when you do, they say, interesting. I bet you can't beat me without it. Let's see if they'll take it from you. And then it's like they don't want to lab and try to find their own shit. They're like, well, I want to do what I'm doing, but I don't want you to have that. Very similar to what I used to joke about with MKX. That MKX was like, I'm a mix and you're going to mix. But if your mix beats my mix, your mix has to go. And that's pretty much this history of Mortal Kombat from the very beginning of the NRS era till now. And I find it more and more that now that we have freedom back, people are like, I hear just as many like people excited as there are people to be like, well, I shouldn't have to deal with that. And instead of like being excited, they want to I don't know, I think they want to deal with certain stuff. And some stuff that looks really overpowered right now, I really feel like it depends on who's doing it. I was doing stuff on stream and Dave made a joke. Dave, can you tell everyone what the joke is? What's the joke you said?
Well, the fact that if Zyphox does it, it's skill. If somebody else does it, it needs to be it's broken. It needs to be banned. It needs to have a combination limit. Is that what you're talking about?
I feel like a lot of times people do look at stuff like that. Like who's abusing
to be fair though, NRS nerfed Sonic Fox's characters though.
They do, but it's kind of
like look at Evo when he won with Cassie. They gave her a huge ass nerf after Evo.
It's kind of
like they gave her such a big nerf you couldn't even play her in the same way.
Yeah, it's like a running joke though, like in the community, like if But really, honestly, the problem that I have is that the game is. It's like I don't understand. NRS. CrimsonShadow said give it 2 weeks and it was 24 hours. So I mean, he seriously.
No, what do you mean? It was people were crying minute 1 of the patch.
Yes, what I mean. So CrimsonShadow underestimated.
Literally, like dude, right now, look,
CrimsonShadow
right now,
underestimated Crim. You lowballed it by quite a bit.
Look, Dude, the whole thing about MK11 is this, right? Right now, I know people are bitching. Look, I see mad people complaining about. They're complaining about Liu Kang. They're complaining about Kotal. They're complaining about Sub-Zero, right? Like those are probably the 3 most bitch characters right now. But who knows though? In a week, in a month, and maybe 3 new characters that people figure out how to play, or
Right.
you know,
Can
create moves that people are gonna be complaining about.
can people just? I'm honestly not interested in complaining. Honestly, I just want to play the game. I like the experience, and I want to learn. Can you please
Let
talk
me tell you
about?
why people.
Tom, hold on. I just want to know
Yeah.
because there are many people. What are people? What's Kotal Khan's best combination? And what are people complaining about? That's all. Like I'm trying
Literally
to.
anything with command
Okay,
grab.
look,
He's just a
let
better
me
character to
just
patch
say,
along
this
with the
I think
buff.
is a big reason for this. I think, and this is not everybody, because there's this thing, I don't want to generalize the entire community, but a large portion of it, maybe not even half, maybe less than half, but still maybe 30% at least. With 30% is still quite a big portion. 1/3 of this community lives and dies by, I'm going to search casual and I'm going to play a couple of games. Now, knowing everything we just got, it's so either somebody loses a couple of games or wins a couple of games and they're done. And then you got one guy thinking, I just lost this. This is broken because this guy played 2 and left, right? Or the other guy plays a couple of games, he loses and he leaves because he's like, I don't want to do it. This is just broken. This is unbelievable. People are unwilling to stick things out. There's literally situations in which this is the very first time you're fighting the same combination of moves. And you're like, oh, wow, I didn't know he could do that in that situation now that he has this. I'm not used to fighting these moves in the same variation. You get 5 minutes to figure it out. And if not, too bad, dog, GG's. And it makes people salty. And they feel like, well, this is broken. And they'll either lose to it and quit because they're like, I'm not going to fight it more than 2 games. Or the other guy will win 2 and says, that's it. You had your 2. GG's. And this is not Combat League. This is casuals. I feel like at least 1/3 of the community learns this way. And which is why 1/3 of the community are the ones that are crying.
Well, I think people will always cry about stuff, and to be fair to NRS, they've done a good job of nerfing
We have
the
it the
top.
worst, though. There are people that would
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
kill to have the netcode that Mortal Kombat has right now.
Yeah,
And I'd say about 1/3 of our community takes it for granted.
Oh yeah.
that's true, and I think Tekken has just updated theirs, and I still don't think it is good in MKs. And
Yeah.
but honestly, for this podcast, I want to keep it positive. I think we're all excited about the patch, about the customizable variations, and what. And
Although
I
I
mean,
don't think
NR.
banned moves will ever be unbanned. I'm just gonna say
Yeah, I agree with
certain
you.
moves I don't terminate.
I have faith. I think they will.
Like, what could you do with terminate?
Dude, if you made terminate cost 3 bars, it would not be that
Yeah,
broken.
people would still no.
Or NRS can even go beyond because they do this sometimes. They can make it so when you do Terminator, it's like Jason's. Once it runs out, you're in like a 3-second stun animation. When your
Ground
opponent gets a
puddle can
combo.
never be unbanned. They can't do anything.
You never know, man. Like I said, a year from now, we may be talking about how do you guys feel about the new unbanned moves in like how do you guys think that they change the character?
Now
We
If
gotta-
they unban that move, people will literally cut themselves.
Just so you guys, I
They're already
gotta go.
cutting themselves right now over Sub-Zero.
Mike, go ahead.
I-
Mike, go ahead.
I have to go though. But hey, it was great talking to you guys.
Yeah,
man.
thanks for having. Thanks for being on.
Yeah, it's awesome to have you on, Mike.
Yeah,
dude.
well, yeah.
Amazing.
I have to play Rambo sometime
Well,
soon, man. I want
Mike,
you to play against my scrubby
That's
Rain.
right, Mike.
For
Do you want to
sure.
get? Do you? It's this
Yeah,
podcast is kind of about you. You want to have? Do you have any
Oh.
last words about maybe any shout outs you want to do? The floor is yours. before
Yeah,
you
baby.
leave.
Oh man! Wow, thanks for putting me on the
About how
spot.
blockable.
Just anything, man. I really hope. I can't wait for tournaments to come back. Talking to you guys again and stuff.
Yeah,
I've
2022,
been
boys. We're almost there.
I've been in the tournament scene for around 11 years now, and I've noticed with COVID and not going to tournament, since the 10 years, 11 years I've been going to tournaments, I've never not been to a tournament this long, and I've realized how much like I've missed everyone, all you guys, like people like King Slayer, and I just hope that comes back because like I've grown these big friendships over time just in the FGC, and that's the only way I could see these people.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping, FGC comes back soon, even if COVID's here. Hey, we figure something out. because I really miss.
Yeah,
these
dude, it's
people.
sad because this was the Evo I was gonna go to. Also, I was wanted to go to 2020
Yeah,
Evo.
I haven't seen you in years, Rio. Like shit, man.
Literal year.
My last tournament was 2017, dude.
Yeah, that's
For
crazy.
Injustice 2 in the beginning.
Okay, but hey, FGC aside and stuff, I am so happy with the way NRS, the direction they're taking. It feels like they're taking a total U-turn, and they're finally like they were almost driving off the cliff, and I was like, fuck, I love NRS, I love Mortal Kombat. I want to see my game like how I felt passionate about MK9, MKX. Like I want that, and they weren't going down that road anymore. But I feel they're making a U-turn, and they're coming back, and next game. So future's bright. I'm happy. Hey, it's good talking to you guys. Peace out. Okay.
All right. Well,
Later, man.
that's right. Well, on that note, I think now is a good time because we've already almost 1 hour and a half in. And honestly, I want to play the game. I don't want to speculate and I want to theorize. So, with that said, I want to thank Michaelangelo for joining us. I want to thank my co hosts, Crimson,
Thank you. Love you guys.
Rio, Tom Brady, and Zyphox for joining me in this podcast. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave us your comments, whether it's on YouTube, that's your my Twitter, etc. And we will see you on the
I have
next.
some closing
episode.
comments real quick.
Go ahead.
I'm calling it now. This is a testing ground. I've already called this before a long time ago, but I'm gonna say it again. NRS is gonna in the next game. Is gonna be create a combatant or a character. I don't care what anybody says.
I agree. Creative characters are coming back.
They're coming back because this is the perfect testing ground.
I'm
They
gonna take my retirement.
tournaments. It just serves.
It's gonna go beyond customizing. Like, you guys have no
let's keep
idea.
that
You're gonna
again.
be making your strengths.
Let's
No,
say-
just real quick. I just want.
Get out of here.
Let's no,
You'll
hold
have
on.
Dave
Let's
playing. You'll have Dave
Dog,
playing on Naga.
dude,
Get out of here.
You know
Hold
what?
on a minute.
Funny you mentioned
Rio,
Armageddon. I
Rio,
saw a no. Hold
Oh
on.
my
Because
god.
no, because Zyphox makes a good point. Let's just talk about this. Real
No,
quick.
dude, I want to
Dude.
play the fucking game. I don't want to.
Okay, you are.
2
Hold on,
hours.
relax. Jesus, relax.
Damn.
Let Zyphox say what he has to say. But I just
for
want to
the
touch
next
on
podcast.
because
We have more time.
dude,
Oh my god.
okay, Dave, we could have literally finished what we were
Go
trying to
for
say
it.
if you just let us
It
talk.
started.
Look.
It is. It's over.
I want to say because Zyphox brought up Armageddon, right?
Yeah.
Look, I just saw an Armageddon video that somebody made yesterday. No joke. And it was create a character versus a create a character. And it was crazy and kind of hype, dude. I'm not I'm going to link it and show you
Yeah, I
guys.
want to see Dave
You
play
guys
on
need to
Naga
see it.
again. Go back.
Dude, no. The video was Tekken. It was called Hayachi versus, who was it? Whatever. And they were fighting. And dude, it was hilarious. They were doing all the glitches, all the parry cancels, all that shit. I'm surprised how this dude in the video even knew how to do all that stuff. But Zyphox has a point, dude. If they make that for the future of the game, but actually make it good and balanced, and you get to customize your normal strings, like beyond what the game gives you right now, that's going to be the future of the
I
game.
don't want it because there'll be 3 banned moves: clone, ice shower.
Dude.
the only 3 banned moves.
job.
Will be like every move was legal except for a clone, shower, puddle.
No ice.
No, sorry, passed. And you guys joke, but Zyphox would probably give me a 50-50 shot of being right on that. So I don't want.
Well, if they ban Sub-Zero's overhead, would it be fine though?
They ban his overhead? Absolutely. Ban him, give him ground power. Ban it. I'd be down for that. Fuck it. Ban it.
Fuck, it's overhead. All right, sorry for opening
No,
it.
it's all right. It's all right. I respect it. Well, anyway, we'll see you guys in that podcast. Thank you so much for listening.
Take it easy.